Okay. Um, your gift in the wrong environment will feel like a curse, whereas a gift in the right environment will feel like a blessing. Here's the thing. This is a quote I heard from Emmanuel Asuquo. Asuquo. Hopefully, I'm saying his name right. I've probably butchered it, but I'm sorry, E-man. But when I heard this quote, it resonated with me a lot, and here's why. Here's a couple of things. Um, a lot of the times when we, in our various parts of our lives, our jobs, our careers, whatever it is that we're going to be building our experiences. We're going to be building our knowledge. We're going to be building our resources, learning how to do things on the job, and depending on whatever type of job that might be, it might be in accounting, it might be finance, it might be marketing, it might be construction, whatever. Everything that we're doing is to set us up for the future. For some people, it's to get ahead in their careers. For some people, for people like me, is to hopefully one day open up my own businesses. Now, I've had the opportunity, and I can safely say that I've already done that because I've owned two businesses in the past, one of which I still own, and I'm trying to get that to the next stage. And here's the thing: the skills that I've learned in my job, and whilst I don't, look at the jobs that I've had as necessarily curses or anything like that, is that those are good environments to learn. They're an environment in which we pick up skills, as I said, whether it's marketing, accounting, whatever it is. There's skills that we pick up in those environments that we then should use in the future. And as we build our careers and all that kind of stuff, we're learning tools, we're learning how to utilize tools, resources that we have or whatever. And when you have a gift, and here's the crunch: when you have a gift and you stay in your job and you stay in your career, because let's be honest, let's just clear the elephant in the room. Working for a company is good, and I'm not by any means dumbing that down or whatever. But the thing is, it's just going to be a job. You're basically being just over broke, unless if you're maybe in a top percentage where you're earning a fairly or really good salary, and you're in that top percentage, let's just say 5-10% of the world, or of your country or whatever, that's considered not necessarily wealthy, but earning a high income enough that you can beat the cost of living, inflation, and all that kind of stuff. But you look at the places like the UK, so for example, where the average salary, and I think it's gone up now. I think it used to be like 30, 32. It's ranged, I think, sort of between 30 and 39. Some people might say 25K. I don't know. I guess it depends on which part of the country that you're in. But the point I'm trying to make is this: when you're in a job, whether we like it or not, for the average person, it's a job. You're just over broke. Now, unless we use the resources and the skills that we learn, and we live in a digital age. We live in a digital age where there's so many tools that we can use, with AI, with so say for example, if you're in e-commerce platforms and stuff like that, there's so much that AI can do for you. You've got things like YouTube where you can make videos and you can help, or one day monetize yourself. We have so many tools and resources that we can use, and even mentioning things like stocks and shares, ISA. Now, I know that this might not be a very usual thing that a lot of people hear, because again, look, when you look at the UK, I think the stat is only about 25% of the UK population invest in stocks and shares. And if you look at the population of the UK, I think it's about 65, 68 million. So if you look at about 25% of that is only about 15 million, I believe. And whilst that 15 million might sound like a lot, for a country like the UK with 65 million, where a lot of people are risk averse, just by the type of culture that we're in, when you compare it to places like the US, totally different, because the people in the US, or companies in the US, business people in the US, have more of a high tolerance when it comes to investing and starting businesses and stuff. For them, it's nothing. It's just something that they do. So going back to my first point, a gift in the wrong environment can feel like a curse. And I always believe, and that's the kind of person that I am, is that whatever resources you get, whatever the resources you've learned, whatever skills you've picked up and all that kind of stuff, it's to set you up for the future. Now, when you set yourself up for the future, you might not have that, because some people just want to stay in their job, and that's fine. I'm not saying that not being in the job for your life or whatever is a bad thing or anything like that. That's absolutely fine, because loads of people have jobs, they live their lives, and they invest in their pensions. They have their houses. They end up buying properties abroad and investing in all different kinds of things, and put their kids through university or college or whatever. That's great. But where I'm coming from is I'm speaking to the people that just don't want to rely on your job. So people like me personally is like, do I love my job? I'm not sure I'd say I love my job, but am I grateful for what my job has given me in terms of my skills and my experience, my knowledge, my wisdom? Absolutely, 100%. But there's a greater level. There's a higher level for people that think like me, and I'm sure, and I believe I'm speaking to some of the people that think like that. There's another stage. There's another higher level that we aspire to, and we need to use those skills, those knowledge that we've gained to um, elevate us to the next level. So when we talk about the right gift being in the right environment, when you have that right gift and you use it in the right environment, you can elevate yourself. And so it's just like it just resonated with me when I initially heard that quote, because it's so poignant, right? It's just like everything that we do is to better ourselves, right? It's to get to that next level. And when you have a gift, and this, people may look at it in different ways because people have different gifts. So people might look at gifts in a totally different way. Where I'm coming from is about using your gift in the right place to elevate. And when Emmanuel from it basically he's from the him and Tayo have a podcast which is called the Bread and Butter uh, podcast, I believe it is. And actually, Emmanuel Asuquo, that's his name, was a guest on a different channel. I think it was Building Wealth. I can't remember the rest of it, but he was the one who was talking about, who came up with this quote, and it really resonated. And that's the quote that I've just shared with you, which is, your gift in the wrong place can be a curse. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you realize what your gift is and you use it in the right way, not the right way, but in the um, uh, right atmosphere, right community, the perfect environment, that's the word I'm looking for, then it can elevate you and it can elevate people, the other people around you. So when Emmanuel was talking about it, he was talking about using your gift in an environment where you can benefit, where he can benefit his community. Because I think he was sharing about how um, he was working obviously at a company, and he was like, he was trying to do something different, and I think the company might have said, well, that doesn't work. Whatever it is that he was trying to do, the company or the people were telling him that doesn't work because that doesn't bring money. And I think Eman was saying, well, okay, I get that, but for me, that's not the vision that I have. That's not what I see my gift as. And people will interpret that quote in many different ways. For me, I agree with him, and I think it's not just a community, but it's just elevating yourself. And when we talk about building wealth, I guess I don't know how about some of the people that are watching this, but when I look at it from my own personal perspective, my job that I see it for my family is to elevate my family to the next level. And I don't necessarily look at it as how would I put it, a search for wanting to have millions and millions of dollars. It's nothing to do with that. It's just to create a balance and or a future where my family's going to have options. My kids are going to have options, because I didn't have options. I had to work to where I am now. And whilst some people might, construe that as a success, and I think it is, people look at success very differently. I look at success as having a family and being able to look after that family. That's what I define success as. And going about and achieving that success comes in many different forms. And for me, it's about being smart with my money, investing for the future, and so that my family don't ever have to worry, that they'll have options, whatever happens to me or any of us. There's always going to be a cushion. There's going to be a financial blueprint that they can follow, and that they can understand that, well, my mom or my dad did this for me. And I think that's where I think I agree wholeheartedly with the phrase about the gift being a blessing, a gift being used in the right environment is a blessing. So I think, for me personally, and I hope for some of you guys that are watching that can resonate with this, is that you know um, Yeah, that's what it about. That's what it's about. We have to use what we have as a gift, and not life is not about. Well, for at least for me anyway. I have to say that I have to say put this disclaimer and say these views are intended for people that it's intended for me, and it's intended for people that think like me or see the things the way I see it, because I think life is about um blessing your community, solving problems. And whilst you might do that at your job, and whilst I do that in my job, that's great, but there's a higher calling than just what my job is. And I feel it's up to me to make sure that I'm doing more or doing the best that I can to ensure that you know my gift is blessing the community. And whilst it is at my job, to a fair extent, I feel like maybe I could do a little bit more that's more in my personal terms, and allows my gifting to accurately return what I think it's worth. And that's just what it is. So yeah, so I hope this resonates with some of you guys. You know, hope you enjoy the video. And look, I'm going to be posting out more content like this. And then hopefully in the future also have a few guests. So, if you're really enjoying this video, just, click and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I appreciate your time for coming and checking out this video. And yeah, I just hope well, I know we'll be able to do more videos like this and share. So I'm just trying to, do the best I can with this YouTube, and hopefully come up with a lot more videos and guests, and stuff like that. So yeah, click subscribe, click that notification bell, guys. Share this video with anybody you think might really appreciate it. And just want to thank you guys for watching. So until the next one, peace.